Today on the travel magazine, Maastricht, the oldest city in the Netherlands and its Hell Gate, the only ancient city gate still standing. We'll take you to the historic white town of Thorn and we'll explore Chateau Neerkanne with its famous gourmet restaurant. The most southern province in the Netherlands is Limburg. It is located in the center of Western Europe and surrounded by Belgium and Germany. In fact, Limburg is a treasure house of history and culture. Hi, I'm Jake de Boer.
And I'm Mieke de Boer, and welcome to Maastricht, the capital of Limburg and the oldest city in the Netherlands.
Maastricht is one of the most beautiful cities in Holland. Standing on the banks of the river Maas, past and present are intertwined. In contemporary Maastricht, strong ties with the past are links to the future.
So Yvonne, we are in Maastricht, the oldest city in the Netherlands, a city with a lot of history. Tell me a little bit the history.
Well, then we have to go back around 2,000 years. Can you imagine? That was a time that the Romans came here. They came from the south and wanted to go through the north, and they wanted to pass Maastricht. But of course that was quite difficult because we have the river Maas here. The Mosa, they call it like that. And they had to find a place where they could go over the river, and that was in this area. So in the beginning the city was called Mosa Trajectum, which is, when you translate it, crossing in the river Maas. That was the first name of Maastricht.
In the 13th century, a great wall enclosed the city.
We are in the area of the Kazematten, and what it means is underground fortifications of Maastricht. And can you imagine, we have roads under the ground here, and a long time ago a lot of them were linked to houses even. Nowadays they hope it's closed, of course.
That is interesting. And this has got nothing to do with the walls.
It was, of course, part of the fortification of Maastricht, but it's not, let's say, the oldest wall of the city. But it was important for the defense of Maastricht.
Everywhere in Maastricht there is reminders of the wars.
When you just go for a walk, everywhere you will find the historical parts left from, well, let's say centuries ago.
Presenting an image of strength, created by the steep pitch of its roof, Hell Gate is an awe-inspiring medieval structure. It was at one time a powerful guardian of the city.
We are standing here in front of the oldest gate of the Netherlands. It's the Hell Gate of 1229. If you would go under the entrance gate, you would be in the inner city. That's good, but if you are outside, that means hell, because several times Maastricht had the plague disease here. So the people would stay in the barracks outside the city, and that was on this spot.
So tell me, Yvonne, how old is Maastricht actually?
Maastricht dates back from 50 years after Christ. Then it was founded by the Romans.
And this particular wall, how far does it go back? Tell me a little bit about it.
Well, this wall was erected in the 13th century, and the city of Maastricht got the right to build it from the Duke von Brabant, who was one of the rulers of the city, and that was in the year 1229 already. They used the natural stone from the surrounding, that's the limestone. It's found in the caves of Maastricht, and it's still there. most important point in history is that for a long time they had two rulers at the same time. And that was when they had the bishop here and the Duke of Brabant. They both were rulers of the city. And you still can see that when you look at the town hall of Maastricht, because there are two staircases. And that was important because when they had a meeting in the city hall, of course, who was going to take as first the staircase? The Duke of Brabant or the bishop? So they decided to make two staircases so they could just go up at the same time.
An interesting sight is the majestic appearance of two beautiful churches that stand across from each other. One is Catholic and the other Protestant, coexisting with mutual respect. Dating back to the 9th century, the Basilica Onze Lieve Vrouwe, or Church of Our Beloved Lady, is the oldest in the Netherlands. Regarded as one of the most beautiful Romanesque churches in this country, the massive exterior is in contrast to its unique, intimate interior. All the windows are stained glass, and ancient paintings adorn the pillars and ceilings. Beneath the choir lies a crypt of 4 aisles. This 11th century crypt is the most inspiring part of the basilica. Inside is a treasure chamber where you'll see paintings, sculptures, and a proud collection of relics dating back to the 8th century. Walking through the basilica gives you a true sense of the historical importance of Maastricht. We leave Holland's oldest city and travel to Thorn, a small town which lies just north of Maastricht.
The history of this town goes way back to about the year 1000. Then here was, on this spot, was a little convent, and it was founded by a count by the name of Maastricht. Together with his wife, he was a German count, and he founded here a little family convent for his daughter. His daughter was the first abbess. It was a real nuns' convent. And it expanded. And after a few hundred years, around 1300, 1400, it became it wasn't a convent anymore. It became a sort of community for high noble ladies, the highest noble ladies from Europe. The first impression you get when you drive through it is it's a white village. Everything is white over here. And that's the first impression you get. And the second impression is it's a quiet village.
Everything is still painted white.
Yeah, that's because it has 3 reasons. One of the reasons is that the ladies who lived here were virgins. And the color of virginity is white.
It's white.
They lived in white houses. Their houses were white. White was also the color of noblesse. It was chic, they call it here, to have a white house.
The church is undoubtedly Thorn's principal building. Until the 12th century, Thorn Abbey was a bold Romanesque building, but in the middle of the 13th century, it was rebuilt in Gothic style. Its architecture, combined with its bold white walls, exude an aura of tranquility. In a small town with a population of 3,000, this church is an imposing figure. From Thorn, we will travel to the border of Holland and Belgium, where we'll visit the famous Chateau Neerkanne. The chateau is well known for a couple of reasons. It lies directly on the border, with part of the building being in Holland and the other in Belgium. Also, this was the place where the famous Treaty of Maastricht was signed, unifying Europe in 1991. The chateau's restaurant is world famous and has been host to many royal and political guests. The world-class chef prepares gourmet delicacies for those who wish to indulge.
Oh, beautiful.
That is very nice. Look at that. Excellent.
Thank you. Here you are.
Thank you.
I understand it. The castle or the chateau where you live, if you go out your back door, you're in Belgium.
We are really in Belgium.
And when you're in the front door, you're in Holland. Is that correct?
That's correct. That's correct.
So where does it split in your house? Do you have a border in your house?
In the sleeping room.
In the sleeping.
So now
comment.
we are going to eat.
Yes.
I'm going to try this. This is lobster, and this looks very good.
Now, you are a one Michelin star restaurant.
Yes.
And I understand there are less than 40 in the Netherlands. One-star Michelin restaurants.
That's correct.
What do you have to do to be a one-star restaurant to be this high quality?
There has to be a good structure in the organization from a restaurant, first of all. Then we need a good chef. We need really an artist in the kitchen. And Hans Snijders, he is such an artist.
Tell me about the picture when we enter this place. There is a picture hanging on the wall.
Yeah, that is Baron Daniel van Dop. He was a military governor of Maastricht. Was a famous man. One of his guests was, in that time, in 1715, Tsar Peter the Great. And well, that's the original painting from the owner in that time, from Chateau Neerkanne.
So, in fact, are you saying that we are sitting in the same area where Tsar Peter the Great probably had lunch or dinner as well?
For sure, he was here. The garden like they are now, they were 300 years ago. The castle was built in 1698.
The garden is spectacular. Impeccably landscaped, it provides a radiant setting enhanced by modern sculptures. not a lot of the history is known about Meerkan. But what is known? Can you give us a very brief history from what you know?
Yeah, what I told you, that the Baron Daniel van Dop lived here, a military governor of Maastricht. It was not for defending works here, but he lived here with his family, and about 300 years ago. And it's good to know that 60 years ago there lived one lady, a very eccentric lady, and her name was Freule Poswick. She smoked cigars, long black hair, black dressed, long, had a rifle, shoot everybody who came here. That is true, what I tell you. And it was a ruin at that time, and she has sold it to what we call the Stichting Het Limburgs Landschap. It's from the state, an organization from the state. So we leased this from the state. And she sold it for one box of cigars, true, and to plant the trees up the hill. So, and then it became the building as it is now.
So what is it like for a little boy from Friesland, from Winsum in Groningen,
Yeah.
to come from there and to live in the castle? Is it a fairy tale?
Yes, it's really fairy tale.
The fairy tale is the chateau in all its brilliance and splendor.
So Jake, I am standing in Belgium. Where are you standing?
I think I'm standing in Holland, but nobody is exactly sure where the border is, but I think it's somewhere between you and I. Did you take your passport?
Yes, I did. But look at the castle. The castle is in Holland. And there is Belgium.
Okay, so why don't we do this? Why don't we get in the van, let's go to Belgium, have a cup of coffee.
With some Belgian chocolates.
Okay, let's go. After we cross into Belgium for coffee and chocolates, we'll return and go shopping in Maastricht and enjoy some of the nightlife. Welcome back to the Dutch city of Maastricht. Shopping is another very good reason for spending a day here. Fashion, patisseries and antiques are plentiful. The sophisticated shop windows in the Stokestraat are the height of temptation. Some of Holland's most exclusive stores are in Maastricht, attracting shoppers not only from Holland, but also from Belgium, Germany, and Luxembourg. There's also the outdoor market where you can enjoy fruit, vegetables, and of course, the beautiful flowers Holland is famous for. The color in the flower market is beautiful, eh?
Yeah, and just think, this is Maastricht.
Yeah, look at the yellow, the pink
Beautiful.
roses, yellow, red.
And the way they package it.
That's it. What is that, mate?
It looks like a cabbage or a kale.
Yeah.
And it's a flower. Don't, be careful, Jake.
Look at that, huh? Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah, that's very nice.
Very
But I
nice.
like the roses.
Okay.
Let's go on, there's lots of things to see.
Okay.
Yo, 5 brood en een tientje, kom maar, hallo.
The one thing that you don't do on the markets in Holland, I think you don't bargain, do
No,
you?
because it is cheap to start with.
Yeah.
And you can get everything here. You can buy your meat, you can
Yeah.
buy your clothing, you can buy everything.
But the locals come here as well. The locals from Maastricht
Sure.
come to this market and they buy, you know, a lot of their groceries,
Their
especially
vegetables.
vegetables, flowers, and of course there's a whole stand that just sells umbrellas now. I wonder why.
Well, it could be that it is a rainy season.
And in Holland it rains from time to time.
Yeah.
Nowhere will you find such a choice of culinary delights within such a small radius. Restaurants, bars and sidewalk cafes abound. The outdoor pubs, restaurants and terraces are always filled with people and everyone always has a good time. Well, that's it for this edition of the Travel Magazine. For the Travel Magazine, I'm Jake de Boer.
And I'm Mieke de Boer, and join us again as we travel the world.